Hello students, in the previous class we did the basic discussion of theory, that is introduction to partnership, and as I mentioned in this class we will be starting with partnership final accounts. I have mentioned earlier also when we were in SYJC doing final accounts, I had told that when you all go to SYJC, 60 to 70% of final accounts remains the same. Final accounts, what you all had done in SYJC was for a sole trader, single person, and here it is partnership, what we have already discussed. Of course, I will not be going in depth what I went in SYJC ka intro lecture, but then too, I will give you the brush up of the object of final accounts. First, when we prepare final accounts, there are two main objects of preparing final accounts. One is to find out the profit or loss, and the second one is to know the financial position of the business. I'll repeat, to find out the profit or loss, and second, to know the financial position of the business. You all have done in SYJC. We used to prepare trading account, profit and loss account, and balance sheet. The same three things you will be preparing in each and every sum of SYJC also, but because SYJC is based on partnership firm, there will be an additional account, that is partners capital account or current account. What is current account? That we will see at a later stage, but on the very in the previous class I had mentioned in that part of introduction where there was fluctuating and fixed. Anyway, right now just keep in mind there is capital accounts. So in each and every sum of final accounts, there will be four things to be prepared: trading account, profit and loss account, partners capital account, and balance sheet. Again, the basic of SYJC. Trading is an account, debit credit. P&L is an account, debit credit. Capital is an account, debit credit. But balance sheet में देखो, there is no debit credit. Why? Because balance sheet is not an account, it is a statement. Very important, commonly asked question for SYJC boards: true, false, balance sheet is an account? No, balance sheet is not an account, it is a statement which shows the details of assets and liabilities. Now, because as I told you, there is partnership, so there will be additional partners capital account. Now just let's brush up what you all have done in SYJC along with a bit extra what we are going to do now. The first account is trading account. Why we prepare trading account? The main motive of preparing trading account is to know the gross profit. You will have done in SYJC, as far as the final account is concerned, two types of profit: gross profit and net profit. Gross profit is also called as direct profit. So the main motive of preparing trading account is to find out the gross profit, or, which is very rare but it can happen, to know the gross loss. Now, what type of transactions come in trading account? As I had mentioned earlier also, trading account, whenever you hear the word goods, always think of trading account. Whenever you hear the word goods, always think of trading account. If goods come in, you will debit trading account. If goods come in, you will debit trading account. If goods go out, you will credit. If goods come in, you will debit trading account. If goods go out, you will credit. So purchases, goods come in, we debit. Sales, goods go out, we credit. Then there are expenses. Now when I say expenses, expenses are classified into two categories: direct and indirect. As I mentioned, gross profit is also called as direct profit. So the expenses which are direct will always come in trading account. Now what are the expenses and which expenses we call it as direct, which come in trading account? Any expense which is directly related to purchase or production of goods. Say for example, wages paid to the workers. Workers work in a factory. Uska remuneration is a direct expense trading account. Then you buy goods. When you buy goods, you pay transport charges on payment on purchase of goods. That is a direct expense. We call it as carriage inward. Carriage inward, again a very important point for objectives. So what is carriage inward? Carriage inward means transport charges paid on purchase of goods. So any expenses incurred on purchase of goods will be debited to trading account. So carriage comes. If you buy goods from outside India, import, you have to pay custom duty. Then that is also a direct expense which will be debited to trading account. Royalties. What is royalty? Royalty means you make a payment for using an expertise of someone else. Now royalty can be classified into direct, indirect. If the question says only royalty, it is a direct expense debited to trading. If they say royalty on purchase or production, direct expense debit trading. But if the question mentions royalty on sales, if the question mentions royalty on sales, then that will be an indirect expense and debited to P&L. But only royalties will be a direct expense trading debit. Then, in addition to sales, purchase, direct expenses, stock. Basic of SYJC, two types of stock, opening stock, closing stock. What is the difference between the two? When I say opening stock means the stock which you have on the first day of the year, and closing stock is the stock which you have on the last day of the year, which is unsold. And because it is unsold, you will not throw it away. You will take it forward to the next year. So two types of stocks, opening and closing. Opening, which is there on the first day of the year, and closing means unsold on the last day of the year. Previous year ka closing automatically becomes current year ka opening. So see, if you all recollect, opening stock, I had mentioned again and again in SYJC, when you start trading account will always start with opening stock. Why? What I told you sometime back, whenever goods come in, always think of trading account. So last year ka closing stock, my unsold goods, which I couldn't sell. Now I will bring it forward in the current year from the last year, and in the current year I will sell it. So opening stock from the previous year, it is coming in the current year. Goods aa raha hai, therefore I will debit trading account. Vice versa. Closing stock, बचा हुआ stock, current year is over, some stock is unsold, we will not throw it away, we will take it forward in the next year and we will sell it in the next year. So क्या होगा? Closing stock current year से निकल के next year जो अभी आने वाला है वहां पे जाएगा. So it goes out from the current year. We are preparing entire final accounts for the current year. So current year से बाहर जा रहा है, so we credit. Got it? So that is the basic of trading account. Don't worry, when I start the sum, मैं full detail में जाऊंगा. Then you will balance the trading account and get the gross profit. कैसे करना? We will see in some time. Whatever is the answer, say for example your gross profit here is 1 lakh rupee. That gross profit you will transfer it to P&L. Gross loss है, you will transfer it to P&L. Profit will come here, you will transfer it here. Loss will come here, you will transfer it here. Very important for objective. When I'll discuss objective, I'll discuss again, but again I'm repeating, matlab I'm mentioning. Students still have that misconception. See, when you will get profit, balance debit side पे कभी आएगा? When you balance the ledger account, credit side का total is more, यहाँ का total is less, so you get a difference here. Let's take a hypothetical example. Credit side का total 5 लाख है, यहाँ पे there is 4 lakhs. 5 lakh is higher, so both the places में you will write 5. 5 minus 4, 1 lakh, you will write it here. Now what students think na, 1 lakh debit side पे लिखा मतलब debit balance. No, it is totally wrong. 1 lakh debit side पे क्यों लिखा? Because credit side का total is more, debit side का total is short, therefore credit side is higher, therefore it is a credit balance. If you see the objective later on, gross profit has a debit balance, false, it has a credit balance. It is written on the debit side, but uska balance is credit. Vice versa, agar debit side is more, you get a difference here, then it is gross loss. That is debit balance because debit side is more. Got it? So gross profit will be transferred here, gross loss will be transferred here. Starting I told you direct expense, indirect expense. Indirect expense are those expense which are connected with business, but they are not direct. In short, all business expenses, when I say all business मतलब personal expenses नहीं आता है. All business expenses which are not direct are indirect and all of them come in P&L. जैसे कि only salary. If they give you factory salary, which is wages, it comes here. Rent, printing stationery, electricity, then you have staff welfare, sundry expenses, general expenses, bad debts, audit fees, legal charges, all of them will be debited to P&L. Expenses will be debited, incomes will be credited. What types of income? Discount received. If they give you discount allowed, expense, received income. Commission paid, expense, received income. Interest paid, expense, interest received, income. So incomes will be credited to P&L and expenses will be debited. Same way, how you close trading account? We will close P&L. Credit side is more, difference comes here, net profit. Debit side is more, difference comes here, net loss. Now the important point. SYJC में जो भी net profit या net loss आया capital में add कर देते थे. Here also we have to do the same thing, but this is a partnership firm. यहाँ पे देखो ये जो sum मैं करने वाला हूँ, there are two partners X and Y. So whatever is the profit or loss you get, दोनों partner में divide होगा. That is a very important point which is coming in each and every sum. Because this is a partnership firm, there is more than one owner. Whatever is your net profit or net loss will be divided and will come in capital account. Clear? Then capital. In this sum what we are going to do now, two partners X and Y. Any transaction relating to partner X, partner Y and connected with the firm will come here. जैसे कि opening balances है, drawings है, interest on drawings, interest on capital, sharing of profit loss, all will come. कैसे करने का? We will see in some time. And the last part, balance sheet, you all know very well. Again I'll repeat, balance sheet is not an account. It is a statement showing the details of all liabilities and assets. SYJC में you all have done final accounts as well as single entry. Anything which is payable liability, capital, creditors, bills payable, outstanding expense, bank overdraft, all are your liabilities. Why capital is a liability? पार्टनर का पर्सनल पैसा है जो उसने बिजनेस को दिया है. सो बिजनेस इज यूजिंग पार्टनर का पर्सनल मनी. व्हेन द राइट टाइम कम्स, business has to pay it back to the partner. We are doing this for business. Business has to pay back to the partner when the time comes. So business के लिए liability. Assets, all your properties, cash balance, bank balance, fixed assets like building, land and building, plant and machinery, computers, laptops, mobile phones used for business, all that are assets. Cash balance, bank balance, any money receivable, anything, you all know SYJC ka basic, anything payable liability, anything receivable assets. So all assets and liabilities come here and in the end your balance sheet has to. 12 marks का guaranteed question. Now you have to do this chapter thoroughly because as I mentioned in the paper pattern discussion, you don't have any choice for this chapter. 12 marks का compulsory chapter. You don't have any choice. 12 marks का compulsory question for final accounts along with 2 to 3 marks objective from this chapter. So out of 80, you can say around 15 marks का weightage is from this chapter. जो objectives है उसमें final accounts भी है and introduction भी है. So दोनों मिला के 2 to 3 marks और objectives. Got it, guys? This was the base. Now, before I start the sum, one last point. Every sum of final accounts, they will give you a trial balance, and along with the trial balance below there will be adjustments. They will ask you minimum 4 adjustments, then they can ask you 4, 5, 6, 7. Normally they don't ask you more than 8. So 4, 5, 6, 7 maximum होता है, कभी कभार 8 होता है, but when it is 8, 1 or 2 are very simple. They'll ask you adjustments. Okay. Now, today in this session, the sum what I'm doing, I've kept it very basic to make your base strong. I have just kept one single adjustment of closing stock. I have just kept one single adjustment of closing stock. In the next class, again I'll be taking an extra question. In that there are 4 adjustments, but today I'm going very slow. We will just take one adjustment. Adjustments are of 2 types. Let me start the sum. When I start the sum, I will show you in the sum. Okay. So all of you all just take that extra sheet what you all have. Let's read the sum and then I'll tell you format कैसे बनाना है. तो सुन लेना. Then you pause the video, be ready with the format and then restart. Okay. चलो, let's read the question first. From the following trial balance and adjustment given by Mrs. X, Y and company having X and Y as partners, prepare final accounts for the year ending 31st December 24. Wages, creditors, drawings X, Y, purchase, sales, sale return, purchase return. Now, because there is sale return and purchase return, put a mark on sales, put a mark on purchase. Put a mark on sales, put a mark on purchase. Bank, capital XY, insurance, furniture, building, bills payable, debtors, bad debt, general expenses, traveling expenses. Bank OD, opening stock, carriage outward rent, carriage inward salaries. Adjustment, closing stock valued at 1,08,000. Only one adjustment is given. Now see, SYJC ka basic. When I record any adjustment, there are 2 types of adjustment. One dependent, other independent. Adjustments are of 2 types when you record it. Independent and dependent. दोनों में difference क्या है? When I say dependent, dependent means the adjustment is such it will affect any of the items given in the trial balance. The adjustment is such it will affect any of the items given in the trial balance. And independent means it will not affect any of the items in the trial balance. It will go at separate independent places without affecting the amount of trial balance. So closing stock is an independent adjustment. Agar dependent adjustment hota, there would have been marking somewhere in the trial balance, but closing stock is independent. Next class में we will study in detail dependent as well as independent. Okay guys, चलो now see format. सुन लो, बाद में आराम से बनाओ. Pause the video, format बनाना, then restart. First page पे heading in the books of Mrs. X, Y and company. They will give you the name of the firm दिया हुआ है, so you write the name of the firm. अगर firm का नाम नहीं दिया है, then you just write in the books of firm. Trading account for the year ending 31st December 24. Particulars, 2 columns of amount on debit and credit. Top right corner पे and left corner पे and right corner पे debit credit. Keep of around 10 to 12 lines. उसके नीचे छोड़ दो. Next, I'll repeat, around 10 to 12 lines. कम टू P&L. ये सम में दोनों एक के नीचे एक फिट हो जाएगा, बट डोंट डू. टेक अ फुल पेज, सेकेंड पेज पूरा P&L पे लो. प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट फॉर द ईयर एंडिंग 31st December 24. Debit, credit, 2 columns each. Take the full page. Come to the third page. 6 lines का partners capital account. Now listen up. Sometimes there will be 2 partners, sometimes there will be 3. Normally final accounts में they don't ask you more than 3. So you see, यहाँ पे 2 partner है. So देखो, particulars XY, particulars XY. Suppose there was a third partner, Z. तो Z का column debit में भी आता, credit में भी आता. Around 6 lines and उसके नीचे balance sheet. So पूरा sum 3 पेज में फिट हो जाएगा. Wherever there are working notes, आगे जाके आएगा, अभी नहीं है. We will do it below trading account. But in your board exams, you will take separately trading, P&L. Listen, even in your board exams, partners capital को तुम लोग अलग पेज पे लेना, बैलेंस शीट को अलग पेज पे लेना, तो 4 पेज में जाएगा. That board exam है. Later on I will guide you how to appear for that also, how to write that also. But right now the sum will go in 3 pages. First page पे 10 to 12 lines trading account. Second page पूरा P&L. Third page partners capital around 6 lines and उसके नीचे balance sheet. Okay. 12 mark का sum. यहाँ पे there is only one adjustment. Normally let's say for example there are 5 adjustments. So posting करने का 3 to 4 marks. Every adjustment will carry 1 or 2 marks and sometimes 3 depending upon the adjustment. And then half mark, 1 mark for getting the gross profit, net profit, capital ka balance and tallying the balance sheet. As and when we proceed, I keep on updating. Okay. So those who are watching online, please pause the video, be ready with the format and then restart. Okay. Chalo. Let's start guys. Wages. Now we know very well wages is a direct expense and all direct expenses are to be debited to trading account. What is wages? Salary paid to the workers. Workers work in a factory or they are connected with purchase of goods. So wages will be debited to trading. But guys, be careful. When you start writing anything in the trading account, what I told you sometime back, trading account will always start with opening stock, उसके बाद purchases. Now in this sum, purchases में returns भी है. So what you do? Leave 3-4 lines and then leave 4 lines and then we will write wages. Where there is a mark, you will put it in the first column and अगर mark नहीं है तो second column. Okay? कितना है wages? 20,000. Leave 4 lines. Come to the debit side of trading account. Right there. To wages account directly outside 20,000. अगर इसमें मार्क होता इनर कॉलम में आता. Sundry creditors. We know very well. Creditors are the people to whom we have to pay and anything payable for us is a liability. Stick to the same thing. When you write anything on the liability side, सबसे पहले capital आएगा. So liability side पे leave 5-6 lines and after writing that, write there sundry creditors. Those who are thorough with SYJC का final accounts, तुम्हारे लिए 95% sum already sorted है. Those who are aware of, those have not yet forgotten the SYJC का basic. Creditors, no adjustment, straight away second column में 1,12,000. Where there is an adjustment, we will put it in the inner column. Now listen guys, drawings. What is drawings? Drawing means personal withdrawal. याद है ना? Expenses which are not connected with business, expenses which are personal are drawings and we know very well. Again I'll repeat. Indirect expense debited to P&L, direct expense debited to trading. Both are business. But if there is any personal expense, it will not be debited to trading or P&L, but it will be deducted from capital. याद है FYJC का basic? Drawings we used to minus from capital, but that was sole trader. यहाँ पे it is partners capital. Nothing is mentioned. Partners capital will always have a credit balance. So हमें minus करना है. So when I say credit balance, credit में से minus करना है, that means I will debit. Debit में से minus करना है, that means I will credit. Credit में add करना है, further credit. Debit में add करना है, further debit. See, I'll repeat again. क्रेडिट में से माइनस करना है, डू रिवर्स डेबिट. डेबिट में से माइनस करना है, डू रिवर्स क्रेडिट. क्रेडिट में ऐड करना है, फर्दर क्रेडिट. डेबिट में ऐड करना है, फर्दर डेबिट. ड्रॉइंग्स विल बी डिडक्टेड फ्रॉम कैपिटल. सो फॉर योर ईच एंड एवरी सम ऑफ फाइनल अकाउंट ऑफ SYJC, wherever is drawings, you will debit to capital account. So come to the debit side of capital. You will write there to drawings account. X का अमाउंट X के कॉलम में, Y का अमाउंट Y में. कितना है X का? X 12,000, Y 8,000. X 12,000, Y 8,000. Purchases. Purchases, goods come in. What I told you, whenever you hear the word goods, always think of trading account. Goods coming in, debit trading. Goods going out, credit trading. Goods are coming in, you will debit. Leave one line for opening stock and then you write purchases and there's a mark. So because there is a mark, put it in the inner column and leave a line. Put it in the inner column and leave a line. So two purchases, 1,42,000. Put it in the inner column and leave a line. Leave one line for opening stock. Sales, goods going out. Goods come in, we debit trading. Goods go out, we credit. Again, there's a mark on sales. So what you do? Trading credit will always start with sales. Come to the credit side. Buy sales account 1,62,000. Buy sales account 1,62,000. Put it in the inner column, leave a line. Cash. SYJC का basic. Cash means the money what we have lying in our office का cash box. Cash will always have a debit balance. Either it will have zero balance or it will have a debit balance. It can never have a credit balance. You cannot have cash as a negative amount. I had given example, those who with me in SYJC. Suppose if I ask you how much you have in your wallet, you will say 500, 1,000, 2,000. You won't say mere wallet mein minus 2,000. That is not possible. So cash, if they give you, it will always have a debit balance. It will appear on the debit side. It is my money, owned by me. Therefore, it is my asset. So come to the asset side right there. Cash. Sorry, no mark, so straight away outside. Cash 20,000 directly in the second column. Sales return. We know very well SYJC ka basic. Whenever we write purchase and sales, the figure which comes outside will always be net purchase or net sale. Net means what? After all adjustment. Yeah, what meaning of this is, during the year I have sold goods worth 162, but out of that 162, 10,000 ka goods my customers have returned. So that is not to be treated as my sales. तो ये सेल्स रिटर्न को मैं सेल्स में से माइनस करूंगा. सो बिलो सेल्स लेस sales return 10,000, and after deducting the returns, take the answer outside. So 162 minus 10 gives you outside 152. So 152 is my net sales. 152 is my net sales. I'll repeat, 162 is my gross sales, उसमें से 10 रिटर्न हुआ, so 162 minus 10, 152 is my net sales. Next, purchase return, exactly the same way. Sales outside net figure, same way purchase outside net figure. Sales return to be deducted from sales, purchase return to be deducted from purchases. कितना है purchase return? 6,000. Come to purchases, less purchase return 6, 142 minus 6 gives you 136. 1,42,000 minus 6 gives you 136. Bank. Now guys, be careful. What I told you, cash will always come on the asset side. Bank, be careful. Cash हमेशा डेबिट साइड पे होगा. बैंक में there are both possibilities. It can be an asset, it can be a liability. पता कैसे चलेगा? How you will come to know? If bank is there on the debit side, that means it is our money lying with the bank, our asset. And if bank is on the credit side, that means it is payable, therefore a liability. Debit side asset, credit side liability. So always check. देखो कौन सी साइड पे? डेबिट. That means our money, अपना पैसा बैंक के पास है, therefore it is an asset. Come to the asset side, below cash, right there, bank 80,000. Below cash, bank 80,000. Now guys, another new point. एक point ये था drawings का. Now see capital. What we did in SYJC, we should write, याद है 2 जोड़े में in SYJC, capital underline opening balance, correct? Now this is a partnership firm. We have partners account, so they will give you individual capital balances of all the partners. Capital can be credit, debit. 99% cases में it will be credit only, unless and until the firm is going into losses. अभी देखो यहाँ पे कहाँ पे दिया है, डेबिट या क्रेडिट? Both the partners are on the credit side, so we will also put it on the credit side. Now the capital which comes in the balance sheet will be the closing balance on the last day of the year after all the adjustment, and this is the balance on the first day of the year. So in each and every sum of final accounts, what you will do, credit side पे है, come to the credit side of capital. This is called as opening balance. So right there, by balance brought down, same x का अमाउंट x के कॉलम में, y का y में. कितना है x का? x का अमाउंट 3 and y का 2. x का 3 and y का 2. Okay, credit balance x and y. Clear with this? So capital credit side पे by balance brought down. Next, insurance. Now be careful guys. Insurance is a business expense. If they give you factory insurance, then it is a direct expense, it will be debited to P&L. But when they give you only insurance, that means it is related to office and indirect expense. So because it is an indirect expense, we will debit P&L. But I told you in the starting, gross profit or gross loss comes in P&L. Basic of SYJC, again repeating, whenever you write anything in P&L, before you write debit as well as credit, leave one line. So insurance कितना है 2000, it's an expense. Leave one line on the debit side, right there, to insurance account 2000, to insurance account 2000. डेबिट साइड में इसके लिए एक्सपेंस. Furniture, we know very well. Furniture is our property, our belonging, owned by us. Therefore, it is an asset. So come to the asset side, right there. Furniture 68,000. It is our property, therefore asset. No adjustment, straight away outside. Building, again. Building for us is again a property, therefore asset for us. So come to the asset side, right there. Building, कितना है building? Building is 2,40,000. Come to the asset side, right there, 2,40,000. Clear? So furniture and building, our property, therefore asset for us. Next, bills payable. Basic of SYJC. Anything receivable is an asset, anything payable is a liability. I told you in the starting while discussing the syllabus, later on in this year only you all have a separate chapter called as bills of exchange. There we will study in detail how to create bill receivable and bills payable. Right now, receivable, asset, payable, liability. What it says? Payable. Therefore, it's a liability. Come to the liability side, below creditors, right there, bills payable, directly outside 40,000. Bills payable, directly outside 40,000. Next, sundry debtors. Anything payable is a liability. Creditors को पैसा देना है, therefore liability. Debtors means the people from whom we have to receive money, therefore it's an asset. So come to the asset side, right there. Sundry debtors, directly outside 2 lakhs. Now guys, see the logic of using the word sundry means more than one debtor. Sometimes they'll give you only debtor, sometimes they'll give you sundry debtors. Uska deep interpretation means what, you know? When they tell you only debtor, na, that means there is one person. And when I say sundry debtors, that means there may be 2 debtors, there may be 5, there may be 10. Suppose there are 10 debtors, 10 का मिला के balance is 2 lakh. That is the logic primarily used for using the word sundry. So creditors, payable, liability. Debtors, receivable, therefore an asset. Next, bad debts. You all know very well. Bad debts is a loss which is irrecoverable. Bad debts is a loss which is irrecoverable. अगर कस्टमर का सिचुएशन इंप्रूव हुआ, आगे जाके I can get it back, but right now it is a loss. पर्सन जिससे लेना है, he has become insolvent. Person जिससे लेना है, he has become insolvent. So either he cannot pay me anything or he will pay me something but not the full amount. So end of the day, मेरा loss है my business expense. Now bad debts has got nothing to do with factory. Therefore, it is an indirect expense and you will debit P&L. So come to the debit side of P&L. 2 bad debts. Account straight away outside 2000. आगे जाके इसमें फॉर्मूला आएगा, but I have not kept it here. Okay, so 2 bad debts, 2000. General, we also call it as sundry or miscellaneous expenses. It is an indirect expense and therefore will be debited to P&L. So general expense, sundry expense, miscellaneous expense, all are indirect expense, debit P&L. कितना है 6,000. Come to the debit side of P&L below bad debts to general expense account, that is 6,000. To general expense account 6,000. Next, traveling. Traveling means traveling cost incurred from going from one place to another. Normally the traveling is done by the sales and marketing staff. Whatever is the purpose, end of the day it is a business expense, and because it is incurred by the marketing or sales person, it will always be treated as a selling expense, and selling expense is a part of indirect expense. Any expense incurred at the time of purchase of goods will be direct, but sale will be indirect. So traveling expense, it will, nothing is mentioned, it will be incurred by the salesman, indirect expense, therefore debit P&L. So to traveling expense account, that is 4,000. Okay. Next, bank overdraft. Now see what I was telling you. ये जो बैंक है यहां पे लिया बराबर. Now there is bank overdraft. Purposely I have kept both in this sum, bank and bank OD, so that you get the concept. अभी देखो ट्रायल बैलेंस बैंक डेबिट साइड में था एंड ओवरड्राफ्ट क्रेडिट साइड पे. I already gave you the hint. Debit side bank means your money lying with the bank, and bank OD means you have taken a temporary loan from the bank. You have taken a temporary loan from the bank. So bank overdraft for us is a liability, and therefore it will appear on the liability. Why liability? I have taken a temporary loan. बैंक का पैसा यूज कर रहा हूं. Within a short period I have to pay it back to the bank. मुझे वापस देना है. It is payable by me. Therefore it's a liability. So come to the liability side. Right. Bank overdraft. No adjustment. Second column में 80,000. Opening stock. I told you in the starting, understand the logic. Whenever you hear the word goods, always think of trading. If goods come in debit trading account, what is opening stock? Stock on the first day of the year. And stock on the first day of the year कहां से आएगा? आसमान से तो नहीं आएगा. तो तुम्हारे पास लास्ट ईयर का बचा हुआ है. So what is remaining with you in the last year, that is your closing stock, that will become my current year ka opening. So opening means that which is coming from the previous year. So now it is coming in the current year. Goods are coming in. Therefore you will debit trading. And remember what I told you, trading account will always start with opening stock. So to opening stock, that is 48,000. To opening stock 48,000. Okay. Carriage outward. Carriage means freight or transport charges. Carriage means freight or transport charges. Now there are two types of carriage. One is carriage outward, one is carriage inward. One is carriage outward, one is carriage inward. Now when I say outward, outward means carriage or transport charges paid on sale of goods. Because out, goods bahar ja raha hai, so sales. And carriage inward means transport charges paid on purchase of goods. When I purchase goods, goods come in, inwards अंदर आ रहा है. So carriage outward, transport charges paid on sale of goods. Any expense on sale will be indirect, and inward on purchase of goods, any expense on purchase of goods will be direct, debit trading. So ये क्या है? outward, it's an indirect expense, come to the debit side of P&L to carriage outward, that is 3,200. To carriage outward 3,200. Rent on the debit side, again I'll repeat, अगर ये factory rent होता trading में जाता, but only rent है, therefore P&L. But be careful, sometimes rent will be on the debit, sometimes on credit. This is on the debit side, so indirect expense, and therefore you will debit P&L. So come to the debit side of P&L to rent account 2,000. To rent account 2,000. Carriage inward. Right now only I told you. Carriage outward means transport charges paid on purchase of goods. Sale of goods. Selling expense indirect debit P&L. Carriage inward means transport charges paid on purchase of goods, direct expense, therefore we will debit trading account. So come to the debit side of trading account to carriage inward account. कितना amount है? 800. And the last item, salaries, it is an indirect expense. अगर wages रहेगा direct trading, salary रहेगा indirect P&L. When I say salary, it is either paid to your office staff or sales staff. So salary, indirect expense, therefore you will debit P&L. So to salaries account, that is 32,000. Okay guys, so this was the posting exactly same of your SYJC level. Now I'll repeat, अगर ये 12 मार्क का सम है, यहां तक करने का you get 3 to 4 marks. If there are secret adjustment, then another 1 or 2 marks. But the main weightage is of adjustment. Okay. Now in this sum, I have kept only one adjustment to make it simple. So I'll come to that. We will do that adjustment. We will see how the two effects are given, and then we'll be doing the balancing part. Okay. And for that, I'll just be back in a second. Okay guys, after completing the posting, now we take the adjustment, and as I mentioned, in this sum, I have just kept one single adjustment. Now those who are with me in SYJC, you all know, I had made you prepare a list behind the book. I am going to do the same thing for this year, but we will do that in the next class when I do another 3 adjustments along with closing stock, not in this. Okay, now see, only one adjustment kept closing stock. Understand the logic, and you should know very well how to do it. Guaranteed adjustment which is going to come in each and every sum, and 1 mark secured for that. Okay, you all know every adjustment has 2 effects. Now SYJC mein there will be one adjustment for which there will be 3 effects. Now when I say 3 effects, matlab it will go at 3 places, but it will be dual effect only. That means that yaad hai SYJC ka basic journal ka, you can debit one account, credit one account. You can debit 10 accounts, credit one. जितने चाहिए उतने account debit करो, जितने चाहिए credit करो, but the amount of debit and credit has to be the same. Okay, so right now, except for that one adjustment, rest all the adjustment will have 2 effects. When I say 2 effects, that means it will be recorded at any of the 2 places. Let's see. Closing stock valued at 1,08,000. What is first closing stock? Closing stock means the goods which is lying on the last day of the year unsold with you. Closing stock means unsold goods lying with you on the last day of the year. What I told you some time back, opening stock क्या होता है? Coming from the previous year. previous year ka unsold coming in the current year. Closing means my year is over, part of the goods, year is over, part of the goods are remaining unsold with me. I will not throw it away. I will take it to the next year. Therefore, from the current year, it goes in the next year. Current year से बाहर जा रहा है, going out. Therefore, the first effect, I will credit trading account. And when you write closing stock, always remember, आगे जाके there will be few more adjustment which will come below sales. So when you write closing stock, you will write it below, say on the second last or the third last line. So come to the credit side, थोड़ा नीचे, by closing stock account, the amount what is given, that is 1,08,000. By closing stock amount, closing stock account 1,08,000. Okay, logic. Current year ka unsold stock which I couldn't sell till the last day of the year now goes in the next year. I will sell it in the next year. One effect. Second, current year ka unsold stock going in the next year. So on the last day of the year, it is my goods. मेरे पास ही है, goods मेरे पास ही है. करंट ईयर से नेक्स्ट ईयर में जा रहा है लेकिन है तो मेरे पास. I am the owner and anything owned by me is nothing but it is an asset. So the second effect of closing stock, my property, my belonging, therefore it is an asset. So come to the asset side, just write closing stock 1,08,000. Closing stock 1,08,000. Same SYJC का effect. By closing stock, trading credit and asset. Logic I'll repeat again. Goods going out from the current year to the next year. So credit closing stock and it is an asset because it is my own property lying with me on the last day of the year. I am the owner. So ये मेरा asset है. 1 mark for writing this. Half mark, half mark. Very very scoring. ध्यान से इसको कर देना. Everything is done. Now guys listen. एक एडजस्टमेंट तो तुम लोग को आएगा नहीं. They will give you at least 4. Suppose there were 4 adjustments. चारों का इफेक्ट देने के बाद 12 में से you get up to 10 marks for doing it here. So जो बाकी का 2 मार्क है, half mark gross profit, half mark net profit, half mark capital balance, and another half to 1 mark on tallying the balance sheet. Okay, so done with the posting, done with the adjustment. Now let's do the balancing part. Always trading account first. We know the logic. The purpose of preparing trading account is to find out the gross profit or gross loss. Come to the credit side. See which side is greater. Clearly credit ज़्यादा लग रहा है. 152 and 8, 160. Credit side का total is 260. दोनों जगह write 2,60,000. I'll repeat. Credit side का total is 260. At both the places write 260. Now take debit side का total. 48 and 6, 54, 184, 204, 800. $48, 74, 54, 184, 204. Yeah, 204, 800. Now see, credit side का, those who are confused with SYJC का balancing part. Debit side का total 204, 800. Credit side का 260. So both the places write higher total 260, 260. Debit is less, so 260 में से 204, 800 को minus करो. So that gives you 55, 200. Okay, 136, 141, 184, 204, 204, 800. Yeah, So 55 200 is my difference. Now listen what I explained you sometime back in the starting. Credit side is more, therefore the difference comes here. And remember डेबिट साइड पे लिखा इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि इट इज डेबिट बैलेंस, दिस इज क्रेडिट बैलेंस. सो क्रेडिट बैलेंस इज प्रॉफिट. Purpose of preparing trading account to get the gross profit. So come to the debit side to gross profit carried down 55 200. And when I say carried down, where you will carry down? You will carry down to profit and loss. So profit and loss, credit side, first line you will write by gross profit brought down 55 200. In this sum, there was no income. If there was any income, I would have left a line for gross profit. जैसे जैसे we will proceed, all the concepts will be cleared gradually. Don't worry on that. Okay. Now net profit. I know you all know how to calculate, but यहाँ पे थोड़ा अलग है because this is the first sum with partnership. Now first let's see the total. Can I say 55 200 2 2 4 10 14 70? Credit side is greater. After, now listen, debit side number of items are more. After this 32, leave 4-5 lines and then you put the total ka sign. Leave 4-5 lines and then you put total ka sign. So credit side ka total 55 200. Now let's take exact debit side ka total. 4 10 14 17 17 19 21 51 51 200. Yeah. So 55 200 में से 51 200, 1 minute, 2 2 4 4 and 6 10 14 17 19 21 51 200. Yeah. So 55 200 minus 51 200 gives you exact 4000. So 4000 is my net profit. Credit side का total 55 200, debit side 51 200, so total is 4000. Now guys, be careful. SYJC में what we used to write? To net profit carried down or transfer to capital. SYJC में there was a single owner. पूरा का पूरा प्रॉफिट उसका था. Now there are two partners, X and Y. Last class का theory, profit or loss will be divided among the partners in their profit sharing ratio. So this 4000 will be divided between X and Y. Now why I told you to leave more lines, देखो. So what you will do, right there, to net profit carried down, and you will underline. Why underline? Because ये 4000 दो पार्टनर में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होगा. Now listen, who are the two partners? X and Y. Who are the two partners? X and Y. अभी ध्यान से देखो. This 4000 you will write in the second column against the name of Y. Y के लाइन में बार 4000. Now guys listen. ये 4000 में से शेयर X का भी है, Y का भी है. Now listen very carefully. Now the question is, 4000 में से कितना X का कितना Y का? They will give you the total. They will give you the ratio. What I explained in the theory. उसका एक rule भी है. If the ratio is not given, if the partnership agreement is silent, then it will be divided equally. Can you see in the starting of first two lines or anywhere in the question they have given the ratio? Ratio नहीं दिया है. So if ratio is not given equal, कितने पार्टनर है? 2। प्रॉफिट कितना है? 4000। 4000 डिवाइड बाई 2, 2000। सो आउट ऑफ 4000, 2000 x का, 2000 y का. I'll repeat, this 4000 will be divided in the profit sharing ratio, and if the profit sharing ratio is not given, then it will be divided equally. Got it? So net profit x ka 2, y ka 2. Now this is connected with xy. How we did here? Gross profit debit में था, यहाँ पे ट्रांसफर. सेम वे net profit x का 2, y का 2, come to the credit side of partners capital. Write there by net profit. Don't write the word account. By net profit 4000 में से 2000 x का है, 2000 y का. So put it in the column of x and y. Put it in the column of x and y. Got it? So 12 में से 11 marks for doing up to here. Now the next step, SYJC में इसके बाद बैलेंस शीट किया था, बट बिफोर बैलेंस शीट वी हैव कैपिटल. वेरी सिंपल, पहले बैलेंस करो, गेट द अमाउंट, देन वील सी व्हाट इज टू बी रिटन. वन बाय वन देखो. पहले एक्स का टोटल लो. क्लियरली क्रेडिट साइड ज्यादा लग रहा है, सो 3 लाख एंड 2, 3,02,000, 3,02,000 माइनस 12, 290. ओके, क्रेडिट साइड इज मोर. सेम वे वाई का करो. 2 लाख प्लस 2, 2,02,000 minus 8, 194. So 2,02,000 minus 8, 194. So x 290 and y 194. Got it? Now guys listen. When we started, it was opening balance जो question में दिया था. We wrote by balance brought down. Now this is closing. So इसके सामने you will write there to balance carried down. इसके सामने you will write to balance carried down. And this is my capital का balance. Again guys, ध्यान रखो, difference debit में क्यों आ रहा? The difference is coming on the debit side because credit is more. So this is credit balance. Debit balance always goes on the asset side. Credit means payable, liability. So this will come here. Now listen how we'll write. Come to the liability side. Write there capital, or you can say capital account. X का कितना है? 290. Write X फर्स्ट कॉलम में 2,90,000, y फर्स्ट कॉलम में 194. सो 290 प्लस 194 टोटल 4,84,000. So 384 and 1, 484 is my total capital. Got it? I'll repeat. Credit side is more, difference is coming here. Therefore, it is a credit balance. And now, after everything, close the balance sheet and tally. Tally मतलब assets and liabilities दोनों का total has to be equal. Let's check. 484, 596 and 1, 696, 716, 4, 5, 620, 632, 636. Yeah. 7,16,000, 168, 168 and 176. This is 1,168, 368, 408. Yeah, 7,16,000. So your balance sheet tallies at 7,16,000. याद रखना, Balance sheet 716 has to be at the same place. Balance sheet has to tally. Tally का मतलब liability and asset दोनों साइड का total has to be the same. If it is not tallying, that means you have made a mistake. Of course, there's a chance that there can be an error in the question also, but always check कर लेना. So balance sheet has to tally. और एक चीज ध्यान रखना, स्टूडेंट्स हैव दैट एक्साइटमेंट. डोंट वरी, मैं स्टूडेंट था तभी मैं भी ऐसे करता था. एग्जाम में फाइनल अकाउंट या कोई भी चैप्टर आया जिसमें बैलेंस शीट बन गया, हैबिट यू नो लाइक दैट, टैली, यस टैली हुआ. टैली हुआ इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आंसर इज राइट. इट कैन टैली रॉन्ग ऑल्सो. दोनों जगह तुमने गलत टोटल लिया है, इट विल टैली एट अ रॉन्ग अमाउंट. कैसे पता है? नाउ लिसन, आई जस्ट शो द एग्जांपल. क्लोजिंग स्टॉक इज 1,08,000. दोनों जगह 1,08,000 लिखा. नाउ बाय मिस्टेक, instead of writing 1,08,000, at both the places you write 1,00,000. 8,000 का डिफरेंस. ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट 8,000 से कम होगा, नेट प्रॉफिट 8,000 से कम होगा, कैपिटल भी 8,000 से कम होगा. तो टैली होगा बट डिफरेंट अमाउंट. व्हाई? बिकॉज एट बोथ द प्लेसेस यू हैव रिटन रॉन्ग अमाउंट, बट दोनों जगह इक्वल लिखा है. हाँ, सपोज यू राइट हियर 1,08,000 एंड यहां पे बाय मिस्टेक 1,00,000 लिखा तो टैली नहीं होगा. बट अगर दोनों जगह रॉन्ग अमाउंट लिखा तो टैली भी रॉन्ग फिगर से हो सकता है. सो आई एम नॉट डिस्करेजिंग यॉल, आई एम टेलिंग यू द फैक्ट. सो बैलेंस शीट टैली हुआ इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आंसर राइट है, बट यस, इट गिव्स यू द कॉन्फिडेंस दैट यू आर ऑन द राइट ट्रैक. Got it, guys? So this was a basic sum of partnership final accounts. Hope the concept was clear. I have gone very slow. You have an option. This is an open video on YouTube. You can watch it any number of times you want, but please watch it logically, understand properly, and जैसे मैंने बोला, please don't mug up. करोगे तो मुझे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. Loss will be yours only. आगे जाके जब भी कॉर्पोरेट लाइफ में जाओगे तभी तुमको पता चलेगा कि कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं आता उसका इफेक्ट क्या होता है. Got it, guys? So that's it. I wind up here. See you all in the next class, where again I'll take an extra question, but यहाँ पे खाली closing stock था. Next class में I'll take 4 adjustments. That's it. See you all in the next class, and before we meet, please see to it that you revise this sum carefully. That's it, guys. See you all in the next class.